Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash movie or Flash film, whichever way you want to put it. So we have the first official proper type trailer for the long-awaited Flash film coming our way in just under a month from now at the Super Bowl. It's going to be here before we know it. Now this is going to be on the 12th of February American time. Now for Australians, European people for the most part, and just other countries around those specific areas, it will be on the 13th of February at some point. Whether that's early morning or in the middle of the day, I guess it depends where you live. But with that trailer, there is a lot of anticipation to get, more looks and insight at certain aspects of the film, whether that be the Flash's abilities and the visual effects around all of that, the lightning, how does it look when he runs? Of course, Michael Keaton's Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, and any other surprises, Supergirl, all that stuff. But one other thing that people are very curious about and getting a look at is the villain for the film. Now, the villain for the Flash film has been a toss-up as to who it could be. At one point, it was Black Flash, then it was Reverse Flash, then it was the Rogues, then it was a mixture of the Rogues and Reverse Flash. It was all a bit confusing, but with this version of the movie that they eventually ended up filming and making after all those years, the rumored villain was a figure known as the Dark Flash. That's pretty much the name that was thrown out there for a while they were filming. And we previously got a tiny look at this supposed character of Dark Flash, but not a decent look. Well, that has changed now thanks to some toy packaging of all things, which does tend to be a serial offender when it comes to revealing stuff early, and that's the case for the Flash film as well. But let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this, whether you think it's a good idea and any theories around it. I have a pretty good idea as to what they might be doing in the film, which we'll talk about in this video. But of course, let me know your thoughts on that and any other theories you have in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, this excites you in any way and you're looking forward to it, let me know by dropping a like on the video. So that supposed, or that, well, not supposed, because it was a first look, especially when you look at what we got today, what we're going to go over today, but the thing we got 2 weeks ago or something like that, what was it, when we got these concept art things, and we got this thing, a concept art of this thing called the Chrono Bowl. Now, the Chrono Bowl was a term that was being used on a couple of different pieces of promotional and merchandise stuff. And I was like, a Chrono Bowl. But then you think chrono, you think chronological, you think of time. So you think, okay, is this just the time stream? That's just the word they're using. It's a very weird thing, Chrono Bowl, but I guess in the film, it might literally look like a big bowl or something. I'm not too sure exactly how it's going to work. But I guess they have a reasoning for calling it Chrono Bowl. But multiverse was a term that was thrown around with it as well. It's multiverse, Chrono Bowl, and stuff like that. Now, when we got this look at it in the concept art, we could see the two Barry Allens fighting something which was apparently known as the Dark Flash based off the concept art and what was noted down. And of course, we'd seen the two Barry Allens or the other Barry Allen that we're going to meet throughout the film, in some other footage from Fandom and other stuff like that previously. And as once again, some of that merchandise showed those two different Barry Allens, because one of them is wearing a makeshift Flash suit made out of an old Batman suit. So okay, well, that's interesting from that, that various, what do you want to call it, that various, conceptual artwork and stuff like that. But you only really got to look at the Dark Flash from a backside angle. You didn't really get to look at the face or anything like that. And that's changing now from stuff that came out today. Well, from stuff that came out probably yesterday from when you're seeing this video. And this was from Toy Packaging. Now, this stuff can be a bit weird in regards to how they claim it and stuff. So I'm not going to show it on screen for too long. I'm literally going to show it on screen for just a bit while we explain it. And I'll go bit by bit because I think it's safer for me to just show it segment by segment than show the entire thing, because I feel like that would get me in trouble. So we're just going to go bit by bit. So the first thing, the toy thing, we get a shot of Batman. I mean, it just looks like Michael Keaton's Batman. I mean, it's nothing really different. I just gonna have a updated version of whatever his suit looked like. So I guess he can move in it pretty well. So nothing amazing here. Then we get another look at the Flash suit. These are just toys. Remember, they do look a bit weird. So pretty much, Batman looks the best out of them all. Just because it's Batman, it's pretty easy to do. So you have the Flash suit here. This is the main Flash. Then we do have the Flash, which is known as the Flash Young Barry. That's what they're actually calling him. And of course, you can see it's a makeshift Batman suit, or makeshift Flash suit made out of a Batman suit. We've seen this previously as well, but you get to see some finer details, if you want to call them here. You can actually see the different little pieces that show that it is clearly an old Batman cowl that's just been spray painted red. But then finally, we get this character here. And yeah, Dark Flash, and he looks like, I don't know, it looks like something that would be one of those like a Resident Evil movie or something like that. I don't know, something weird like that. Now, my first impressions were like, okay, this is interesting. It's definitely not what I was expecting straight up, but at the same time, I don't hate it, because when I look at him, I just think this guy looks corrupted, like corrupted as hell, and that could be a good thing depending on what the story for the movie is. So you might be wondering, okay, well, Dark Flash, who is Dark Flash? Well, we actually had Dark Flash used on the Flash TV show when Barry was taken over by Bloodwork. But once again, I think they didn't want to use Negative Flash, which is, I guess, what it was in the comics, because it wasn't exactly that. So they just went, okay, we'll just call him Dark Flash. But it wasn't really like Dark Flash from the comics either. So is this a replacement for Reverse Flash or Black Flash? Especially when you look at him, you think it could be a version of Black Flash based off how he looks. Because even when you look at Black Flash in the comics, this is sort of what it looks like. Even like the I guess like the mouth area where it's open, it looks like all zombified and like, I don't know, like it's like, I don't know, like it's, what do you want to call it, like decomposing or something like that. But they're not calling him Black Flash. So obviously this isn't meant to be like the Grim Reaper of speedsters and running around, and if he touches you, you die or anything. So it's not meant to be Black Flash exactly. So what is Dark Flash? Well, Dark Flash in the comics actually attaches to a character known as Walter West. Now, Walter West in the comics went on to be known as Dark Flash and was from another timeline, so remember that, another timeline in the DC universe, and had a life that was very similar and in line with that of Wally West from the main DC universe. So not Barry Allen, but Wally West. And just from that main DC universe timeline, except for the fact that when there was this battle with a villain where our main Wally West managed to save Linda Park, Walter West was not able to, and she died. Now, this led Walter West down a very different path due to this difference, a pretty big difference, your loved one dying, where he went on to be a darker Flash, so, Dark Flash, and treat criminals in a much more brutal way than we're used to seeing speedsters do. Obviously, pretty much killing them so the criminals couldn't continue doing what they were doing. I think we had this, like, with various different characters, like Superman's done in the comics, Batman's done in the comics, or in certain interpretations. I mean, I think did the Future Flash in the TV show do it as well? It's happened with a couple of different characters. Now, Wally West and Linda Park of the main timeline of the DC universe did end up actually getting displaced in a different timeline, Walter's timeline, which Walter takes advantage of and moves over to their timeline that they came from. And though Walter isn't a villain, he's actually seen as a hero. He works with other good speedsters and stuff like that. It appears that this version, Walter West, could maybe be the inspiration for this Dark Flash in the movie, but a more sinister and legitimately evil intentioned character. So it's just a general concept of another, similar character from a different timeline that goes on along a very parallel experience and very similar experiences throughout their life, but there's one major difference which stems them off to the point where they change. And maybe what we're seeing here is that it's not a massive change that, like, in regards to like a year or two from that point, but it's how that version from the other timeline deals with it and how they go about things, which is maybe what we're seeing in the film. Now, one of the big theories on Dark Flash in this movie is that the Dark Flash that we're seeing there, which looks like Black Flash sort of with some weird horns coming off their back, is actually an older version of the other Barry Allen that the main Barry that we know meets throughout the film. So what they're calling Young Barry. It's an older version of Young Barry. So this is obviously the Barry Allen from the Michael Keaton Batman's Earth. So maybe they are trying to take the place of the main Barry in his timeline. It wouldn't be surprising if we go into that fight with the two Barry Allens up against Dark Flash. And, our Barry Allen that we've known feels like they're easily winning this fight and everything like that, only for the tables to turn and realize that he is up against two threats, Dark Flash and this younger Barry that he's met. Or one of the things that I could also see happening is that maybe in this fight, the young Barry Allen learns that the Dark Flash is actually his older self and has to try and fight for his own future once he learns this. Like, he's been battling against the Dark Flash, thinking that he's taken down this evil threat, when in turn he's been taken down what he's meant to become, and now it's up to him to try and change that potential future for himself, which of course will be taking our Barry's spot potentially back in his own timeline. And they could even add in that our Barry running back in time and everything like that was the spur for all this and created it. That could potentially be what it is. Like, there's even the option there as well that this young Barry in this other timeline was never meant to get speed. Like in this other timeline on Keaton's Earth, Barry Allen wasn't meant to get speed, but with our Barry coming back, now he does get speed, and it completely changes things in his trajectory in life to the point where now he becomes Dark Flash. So this could be the repercussion of the Flashpoint, if you want to call it, where he's run back in time, tried to save his mum, and everything like that. So this could be a big thing in the story, which will be a change up from Flashpoint, but still show the repercussions of it and the importance of it, as well as maybe even changing the future, like the present day when Barry does get back to it as well. So this could be a pretty big, storyline within the film. It's a bit of a change up, but it could still work. I think it just depends on the actual execution and I guess the explanation around it. But of course, I think we'll get some like hints to it, I guess, in the trailer when it does come out in just under a month. Maybe they might not want to spoil too much. But with the Dark Flash there and just the connections to the comics there, you can sort of maybe build a general idea on what the story would be. But then again, it's still going to be a change from the comics because it looks like it's just going to be a legitimate villain rather than like a troubled character like it was in the comics. So it's a wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on all the stuff we went over. Dark Flash, does it interest you? Do you have any other different theories as to how they could, approach this character in the movie? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.